Welcome to Tay Experience. My name is Levi Rivera, and I'm an intern here at Tay Radio. Could everyone else please introduce themselves?
Hi, I'm Galle, and I'm an intern at Tay Radio Marin as well, and I go to Redwood High School.
And I'm Santy Hernandez, and I'm a host of Tay Radio, but I'm so happy to be with both of you today.
Okay, thank you guys. So today's episode is going to be all about traveling and food. So I'd like to start off by asking you guys a question. If you guys can remember, do you guys remember the first time you've traveled outside of the country? And if you don't remember, then do you remember any memories of anyone telling you your first time outside of the country?
This one's hard. I think my first memory is going to Israel when I was like 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember much about it, but I remember that it was a really, really cool environment. There was a lot of chaos going on, and it was really different from what I'm used to. So, yeah.
Do you know how old you were back then?
Yeah, I think around 6, I'm pretty sure. Although maybe like 7, 8, I don't know.
I see.
Me outside of the country in the U.S., I think I was 13 when I got my immigration status. I had to leave the country in order to go to the U.S. Embassy in Guatemala.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to go through medical. You have to go through a medical exam. And I got 6 shots. And then I went to the embassy, and then I got stamped of approval that I can come in, enter the U.S. legally. So that was the first memory that I have leaving the country in the U.S. And it was during. So the way it works, if you're someone who's gone through something similar like this, they will give you an appointment at the embassy, and you don't know exactly when that is. So we got mine towards December, and the end of the year. So we actually had to travel. We had to fly during Christmas Day. And we were traveling with my dad on Christmas Day. And it was really special because I was born in Guatemala. I came here when I was 7. And so I grew up with my family back home. So leaving for the first time out of the country to go visit my family was really special.
I see.
Yeah.
That's really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you guys.
What about you?
As for me, I think the first time I traveled outside of the country, I don't really remember, but I think I was like 2 or 3. I got really sick. And like my parents didn't really know what to do. So they sent me to Mexico. Like they took me to Mexico. And like I got like medication from there as a baby. And like I wasn't sick anymore. I think I was like congested or something. But yeah, I think that like as the way like my family describes it, I was like, yeah, I grew up there for a while. Like I think I was like barely starting. Like I was like, yeah, so I was like 3. So I think I came back to the U.S. when I was around like 4, like about to turn 5.
Oh, okay.
So I took like my first steps over there. I think.
That's so cool.
Actually, I might have been younger because I did take my first steps like kind of early. But yeah, I did come back when I was about to turn like right around the edge, like when you're going to go into like preschool.
Oh, okay. So around 4, 5.
Yeah.
Typically 5 would be 5 or mainly 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but thank you guys for sharing.
Yeah, of course.
My second question is kind of related to this. So could you guys talk about all the countries or states that you've been to outside of like where we live now or the U.S.?
Yeah, so I've been to a wide variety of different countries. In Europe, I've been to Switzerland, Spain, France. I've been to Mexico, and I've also been to Israel, and then back to Europe, Italy, and Greece.
Oh.
So a lot of international.
Do you think you can like explain a little bit about like your experiences in those countries?
Yeah, I mean, personally, my favorite was Switzerland, which was the most recent travel experience. And we got to take a train from Zurich to Geneva. I think I liked Zurich more because the culture and the food and everything. But then we went to Geneva and then to France to go skiing. So it was a really cool vacation, like, time of my life kind of thing.
Was this like what kind of like season was this?
It was during the winter.
Oh, of this year?
Yeah.
Last year?
Like January, I think, February.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So it was amazing. We brought our own ski stuff. So when we got off the train, between each place, we had to like run off, like take everything off. We had like 20 different pieces of luggage before the doors would close and they'd go. And we got some very close calls, but we made it. Didn't lose anything. So,
that's good.
yeah. That was that.
What about you, Santy?
Me?
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate to have the opportunity to travel to different places. And I'll tie it in a little bit. My family, we're a family of immigrants, and I won't get into detail the story, but there's something that happens when you've been taking that opportunity to travel, like not because you don't want to, but it's because they tell you can't.
Yeah.
Right. So for a long I'm 23 right now, and there's many family members that I have that don't have the opportunity to travel. From what I hear is that you both have the opportunity to travel and outside of the country and within the country without any fear. And so for me, growing up, once I was able to legally be here in the U.S., it opened a dream of mine to travel to many different places, experience different cultures, learn about different cultures. So I've been very, very fortunate that I have found opportunities that I have applied to that have allowed me to travel. Because truthfully, now that I'm much older, I realize that, man, traveling, it's so fun, guys, but it's a lot of money too. And if you don't have, like, you're not economically stable, like you guys are talking about your parents like funding a lot of your trips,
Absolutely.
which is great. I had that opportunity as well. Now I'm 23. If I want to go somewhere, I have to like pay for it myself.
Yeah.
So I just want to put that out there. So yes, I have traveled, guys. I've gotten opportunities to travel to different places. I'll give you guys a list of where I've been. And then there are some that my parents have paid, some that I have paid, and some that I just found organizations who have paid. So I've been to Guatemala. That's where I was born. I've been to Mexico, to South Korea, Costa Rica. And then there's different states. For example, I've been to Washington, Oregon, Miami, New York, Utah, Arizona, and Colorado. So the places within the U.S., some of them were funded by school programs that offer for low-income families to give an opportunity for students. Summer Search allowed me to travel to Costa Rica for 3 weeks and travel to Colorado, New Mexico, and Utah. And it was 3 weeks as well. We did a lot of community service and learned a little bit about the land and area. So I've been a little bit all over the place.
That sounds so nice. You guys have traveled to so many places.
And you?
Well, I've only been to Mexico and Japan and technically Taiwan. I had a layover there on my way to Japan, and I got to explore some of it. But I think, I also think traveling is a really big privilege. I think a lot of my family fun trips for me to go to different places. I'm going to Vietnam later this year, and a lot of my family just likes to look out for me in that way, because it's you're getting an opportunity to leave the country, and that's something that they're not able to do. And it's just really nice to get to do that, go to places for them, bring them back things, and get to talk about my experiences. And traveling is something that's it can be talked about for so long, because I think it's such a it seems like such a broad topic, but you can really go into specifics. And with you guys travel so much, and it's so wonderful to hear that.
Yeah, and I would encourage, especially, I don't feel like I'm that old, but I'm you guys are pretty young. That if there's something that I did, I'll be honest with you guys. My family now we're in a much better state where, you know, my parents travel and they have economically speaking they have built their success.
Yeah.
But back when I was a kid, it wasn't that way. I mean, we can sit with my parents and have a conversation, and traveling wasn't even on top of their, you know, top 10 things to worry about because it wasn't something that they had. But I never used it as an excuse despite knowing how we were financially. I went to like the career fair you guys came into that we had last week. There were opportunities like that showed up that I went without really thinking about anything, and I talked to people, and that led people to or I found people that had similar interests of what I had, which was traveling. And when Summer Search came into my plate, they said, hey, you can travel for free. It's a, you know, if you qualify for this program, you'll travel, you can choose where you want to go. And if you don't want to travel, you can actually go to stay at a college. Let's say you want to go to SF State. They give you a 3 weeks experience to go live in college. I was more drawn to the traveling part, and they gave you options, and I saw Costa Rica on there, and I said, what? I can travel. I'm fortunate enough. If they're paying for it, I'm going to Costa Rica.
Yeah.
So for those out there who might hear our conversation about traveling and they might feel like there isn't opportunities for me out there to do that, just keep looking. There's many programs that offer students the opportunity to travel, especially if you're a low income family. Just putting it out there.
Yeah. I think that's something really insightful to think about all the time, that there's like, even if you have to go look for it, there's always like an opportunity for anything. But yeah, thank you guys.
Yeah, of course.
Another question I have is, what do you think is more important to you when you travel to different countries? Comfort and relaxation, or kind of getting out of your comfort zone and stimulating new experiences?
Well, part of being young means that you're like searching for new experiences all the time.
Yeah.
So for me, I know maybe my parents or grandparents usually like to sit on the beach and relax. I personally, when I go traveling, like to see the art and like to see the different places that aren't necessarily touristy but are more authentic to the people that actually live there every day. So I feel like there's a lot more to see doing that, and a lot more to gain from actually going out and seeking new experiences than just relaxing. I feel like relaxing you can do at home, or relaxing you can do at the beach here in California. But I don't know. I think everyone has a different answer for this.
Do you think, just like a follow-up question, do you think you have like an example of when you like went out of your way to go traverse through a new experience rather than like stay?
Well, for me, because I'm younger and I'm obviously with my parents most of the time, if not all the time.
Yeah.
Usually I'm tagging along and following the agenda they have. But like, for example, earlier this year when I was in Switzerland, we were in a really, really cool European style like village. And so when they went off to the coffee shop, I personally went around and saw the different stores and saw the different like streets and places and came back. And, you know, that's just an example of like seeing new things. And like, for example, when I'm like just sitting in the car, instead of like being on my phone like my siblings or cousins, I'm actually trying to look out the window and absorb as much as possible. Because I know, as Santy said earlier, it's like not really something you can take for granted, because traveling is really expensive and it's a really, really unique thing to have the privilege of being able to do.
Yeah. Thank you. Santy?
Yeah, for me, it's a great question. I am very similar to you. When we say traveling or vacation, I really feel that I don't go on vacation. I'm the type of person who I have whatever time I have in that specific area. I want to take the most advantage of that time. So same thing. I will wake up at 5 a.m. if I'm trying to go somewhere, and not sleep in and take the time to relax, because like you said, Galle, I can do that back home, right? So I take advantage of that opportunity. I'm really big on understanding the culture. When I travel, I try to go in the mindset of like, I have my culture. I know how my lifestyle is. I go into a different country knowing that and saying I need to be open-minded to learn how this part of the world lives.
Yeah.
And not go in a mindset of like, why are you doing that? It's so different from mine. It's just being like, interesting. This is different. So yeah, and every trip I've done, I've always been very adventurous.
Yes.
and try what I can. Yeah.
A lot of like cultural appreciation, I see.
Yeah. And I think Gal said it perfectly. Whenever I go to a different country, I like to talk to the locals. The locals are my favorite because I can go on Google and I can do research on YouTube and be like, what's the best place to go here and there? And sometimes it's good to do that. It's good to go to places that they recommend. But typically it's targeted towards tourism, tourists, right? So it's a different vibe. But when you talk to a local and you ask them, hey, what's your favorite place to go? They'll tell you places that it's not even on Google, and it's you get a full different experience. And it's so cool because you get to build relationships that will last with you for a lifetime, right? Yeah. For example, I'll bring in my experience in Mexico and Korea. In Mexico, I spoke the language, but I'm not Mexicana. I'm Guatemalan. So there's a lot of different things. And we went to this Tulum. Tulum is getting very, very popular nowadays. Yeah. When we traveled, it was still under development. But we went there because we wanted to explore the Riviera Maya all the way, Playa del Carmen, and etc. And I remember my brother, we stayed in an Airbnb, and we said, okay, there's so many places we could go, but let's go to the town. Let's just go and go explore. And my friend, she's from Yucatan, and she recommended this dessert. I forgot the dessert name. And I really wanted to find it. So we walked around the streets and we saw taco trucks, and we found the dessert, and it's basically shaved ice mixed with a lot of other things. I forgot the name. I think it's machucado. No, I don't remember. But then we started talking to people, and they were saying, hey, there's a soccer game going on. And we went, and it was a soccer game of women. Women were playing a soccer game, and the whole town was there. They were cheering. It was beautiful. And I had my little brother, and we got to experience that. And we weren't rooting for any team, but whenever a goal would go in, it's like, it was such an amazing experience. And that happened because we were looking for trying to taste something that a local knew about it, right? Yeah. And so that was an experience. Korea was a different one. South Korea, I don't speak Korean. Yeah. I don't know the language. Yeah. But again, I always go into that mindset, and I remember the two people that I went with. I'm typically very shy. I talk on a podcast, but I'm shy. I would say it's hard for me to talk to people. But when I'm traveling, there's a side of me that turns on that I don't even recognize, because I'll talk to people and I'll take my translator and I'll say, hi, my name is blah blah blah. I want to know, where do you recommend to go? And I'll put the phone on there and I'll play it for them. And I've had multiple conversations with different locals, and they recommended this place and this place. We asked the local at an ice cream shop, and I told her, hey, what's your favorite place to go to eat? And she said, there's this place here. She told us what it was, and it looked really, I'll be honest, didn't look very appetizing. But we went and we realized that you could sit on the floor, and then they brought this big pot, and it was a mixture of chicken, and I was like, oh, this is really good. But I was like, let's try it. And we tried it, and it was so good. It was so good. Yeah. And we wouldn't have found that place if we hadn't asked. So for me, I go back to what you were saying, is asking more to the local people about where to go rather than just looking on Google. Same thing here. You don't necessarily need to go far away. For example, I'll ask you guys this question. What's a place that you recommend here in Marin?
Here in Marin?
Yeah.
I go get banh mi's from this one place next to Share Tea in Montecito. I don't know. I think it's banh mi and coffee. But they have really good banh mi's, and like
I don't even know what a banh mi is. What
it's
is
a Vietnamese sandwich with a French roll. So it's just like a French roll with I get mine with pork. So it's like fried pork, carrots, cilantro. I like to put sriracha on mine. Yeah, they're just really nice sandwiches, and I like them a lot. I'd recommend going there because they're pretty good. Yeah.
If you ever go to Tiburon, maybe they have a lot of really nice restaurants, but they're pretty expensive. But I think Ming's, it's this Chinese food place like in Tiburon. It's like really good food, pretty good deal, and also like pretty authentic, I'd say.
Yeah.
Although I wouldn't really know, but I think it's really delicious.
Yeah.
You should try it.
You see, I don't even know what you guys mentioned, and those
Yeah.
are examples of places that only the locals would
Yeah.
Yeah.
would know Mike to their taste. And so that's what I mean of asking the locals, that they know exactly what tastes good to them versus going to a touristy place and explore that.
Do you guys have any good like Centerville spots for me to know?
Centerville.
Like food.
Food, yeah.
Ooh.
Drink.
No.
I think that's, well, depends. What are you looking for?
Yeah.
I heard the Mexican food is good.
Oh, Javi, agree or disagree?
I agree, but
Mexican food? I wouldn't know.
depends on the place. I like to go to this one place next to the postal office or something, the postal place. Right in front, from 7 to 11, there's a taco truck that comes from Sacramento.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
And I'm local.
they have amazing tacos
Okay.
and quesadillas and like every type of Mexican food.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't know.
Could be any food if you guys are struggling.
yeah, I'd recommend
I
that.
I'm
I
a
don't think they have a name.
I'm a big
Next to
pupusa fan. Oh, you tried pupusas for the first time. I think that's the second part of our show, food. But one of my favorite pupusa places is actually a taco. Is it a taco truck? It's not. It's a food truck in Canal, and it's in a parking lot, and they're there, and I love their pupusas. Their pupusas are so good.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, and it's not a restaurant, so people really don't know about it. But I love the owner. I love I know the owner, and I saw how they built themselves up to get their food truck. So I love that pupuseria.
Yeah, I think it's really amazing how, during traveling, you can like learn so much about the culture and like the people and like, just know that they're like all humans have that like capacity to want to share their experiences with others.
Yeah.
And I like how we're doing that in this podcast.
Yeah, I will say though that something that has ruined it for me, and oh man, we're talking about food already, but when you travel to a certain country and they have their food, for example, in Mexico, there's our tacos, and in Korea, they have kimbap, and they have like so many different things that you'll try here. I've noticed, and it's a pattern now, that when I go and I travel to that country and try that specific food, I come back like 99% of the time. I come back preferring that, and I don't like what I come to eat here.
Yeah.
Like Korean barbecue, the Korean barbecues here, it's just so different from the Korean barbecue that we went over there, and I was like, what? It was just so 10 times better.
I see. Yeah, I mean, a lot of countries, it's like the food is always going to be better there because, I mean, it was invented there, it originated there.
But we're so used to like the American version of that traditional food that when you go there, there's like this like whole new horizon you didn't know existed. Like this whole like type of food that you didn't know was like so good. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of also like people that came from different countries that do make the authentic food. So it's hard to say like only the food in that country is superior because there's like some nuance, but for the most part, I think that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you guys for sharing. That was really like deep, and I like how we were trying to sort of traversing into like our second segment, which is like all about food.
Yeah.
So if we kind of like go back to like traveling and like experiences around traveling, I know sometimes traveling can go wrong. Have you guys ever had a bad travel experience? Or an instance in which you think maybe it was considered bad?
I'm trying to avoid the food because I'm thinking about the food that made me.
No, I was
food
going to bring
poisoning.
up the same thing.
You know what? Let's jump into food. Let's jump into
Why
food.
not?
You want to start?
Okay,
What's
we
your
can-
bad food
we can
experience?
tag that. Yeah. Bad food
curious.
experiences?
I think we all have.
Well, one time when I was in Mexico, I had some ceviche, and and it just did not go very well for me the next few days. That's all I have to say.
Did you get like food poisoning?
I think so.
I
I think
see.
it was from that. Yeah, most likely.
Maybe it was raw. Maybe some of
Yeah.
it was raw.
Well, something I learned about food and just traveling to a different country, it's that you are used to certain bacteria that are here. So when you go to any country, you are exposing your body to new bacteria
Yeah.
that your body's not used to, that the locals are. And so when you try certain, when you eat food or even just touch something that and your body reacts to it, that's where you get a lot of sickness. I would say for me, it has also been food, and it's been in my home country, Guatemala. We had, I don't remember what we had, but it was during Christmas time, and Christmas time, they have a lot of tamales, they have a lot of different things. And my brother and I, we ate that, and he was, TMI, he was the poorest from. He was not doing okay. And me too. Either I get constipated or the opposite.
Yeah.
So the food has always been a big thing for me. So now, lesson learned, I travel with probiotics.
Yeah.
And anything digestive wise, because I've learned my lesson with traveling that I love to taste new foods and enjoy, but you also gotta always make sure you're eating. At least for me, I try to keep my rhythm of eating back home over there as well.
I see.
Yeah.
Very insightful, guys. I think the only bad food experience I've had while traveling is, Mexico. I think I had like chicken with mole, which is like a chocolate salsa kind of sauce you can put on different things. And I think the chicken may have been like, I don't know what was wrong. It was probably the chicken, but I was really sick and I had like food poisoning. And every single time I go there, it's always the same issue. I'm always like extremely sick for some reason. But yeah, I think since we're in the segment of food, I'd like to ask you guys, what is your favorite food and why?
Go to my notes. Personally, I think my favorite food is a classic hamburger. Classic In-N-Out. I also really like pizza, especially from Italy.
I see.
Yeah.
And a follow-up question with this is, do you think it relates to anything that you think is cultural? Like, is it something you think has like background in your own ancestry or like your tastes and things?
Well, not necessarily like the pizza or all that stuff, but I do have like a lot of like really close to me like Israeli kind of meals and foods like shawarma, and for Passover every year we have matzah ball soup, and we have all sorts of different like matzah, and so having that every year and like having that since I was very young makes me really like attached, and like I feel like when I have that it like brings back memories. So I think there is some like cultural value to food, even though it's just some ingredients.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I see. And you, Santy?
Oh, my favorite food. My favorite food, I like this dish from Guatemala. It's called estofado.
Oh my God.
Which is similar to mole, but there's just a
Yeah.
unique taste to it that doesn't compare to the rest. In my opinion, that's why it's my favorite. But I also love pupusas. Pupusas are one of my favorite. and it depends on who makes it too. I don't like pupusas that are very greasy, and that's why I say like the lady that I like, she does, it's not very greasy, but I like pupusas. ¿Qué más? And from Mexico, me encanta mucho los sorry, my brain switched. I like tacos del pastor. I am not a pork eating person, but when I went to Mexico, I tried tacos al pastor with pineapple, grilled pineapple.
Yeah, they always.
And
put
it's
pineapple.
my favorite taco. I love the other tacos, but and if I go to a restaurant here and I ask for tacos al pastor, and I always ask for pineapple, and unfortunately not everyone carries grilled pineapple.
I see.
What a shame.
I agree with you with pupusas. During the career fair, sorry. I've like only ever had Costco pupusas, and they're just really like flaky, like dry, and there's nothing inside.
Yeah.
But then the ones that we had here from like a local restaurant, I think, was just like at another level. And it's like, oh, I never even knew this was like a thing, but it's amazing.
He ate it without
It's really good. Yeah, at first I didn't know how to do the sauce. I don't know what they're called, but the sauce
the
and the
curtido. The curtido is the salad, and then the salsa.
Yeah. Then I added that, and it came. Yeah,
and you ate it with your hands and everything.
Yeah,
like
authentic.
Yeah,
Authentic, yes.
That's really.
What
nice.
about you?
Yeah, I think I'd also have to agree with pupusas. They're just something I grew up with. I'm half Salvadorian too, so like my aunt would make them a lot. They're also just like easy to eat. You could just pick it up with your hands and enjoy it. And like there's so many different things I didn't know because I'm not that close with like my Salvadorian side of the family, but I have Salvadorian friends, and when I hang out with their families, they tell me, oh, there's pupusas with fish, with different fruits, and I'm like, oh, that's so like I didn't know that was a thing. And it's just really nice to think about stuff like that, like how different foods have really traversed throughout time. And I think for me, I think I'd say also pupusas because of that. Just like because they're just so simple but so delicious. My next question is, what do you think your favorite food was when you went to another country? Since both of you guys have traveled outside of the United States, what was your favorite food from that country? Like, I know you guys mentioned food from other cultures, but what about in the specific countries you guys have been to, from like a local place there or from any other?
I think it's got to be the Italian food. When I went there, I was like it's simple, it's pasta, it's pizza, but it's like at this whole another like level. For some reason, when I had the pastas and the pizzas, I felt like it was so different from the American ones that I've had that I was like, okay, this is it. This is the food. Yeah.
Yeah. Was there like a specific experience you remember where you were just like, oh my God?
Yeah, I think the mozzarella margarita pizzas.
Oh my God.
Just having one of those, like it was like this really small, like only like 4 slices, very like, but for some reason it was really nice. And very like, it had a nice like, the basil had a nice flavor and the tomato sauce. I don't know, I just like the combo a lot.
Oh, I see. What about you, Sandy?
I feel like I answered a little bit of your question earlier. But I'll say in Costa Rica, I tried a picadillo, and picadillo is it's a combination of ground beef with potatoes. But I found it interesting because I lived with a family in Costa Rica. If I lived with them for a week, they put in plantains in their picadillo.
That sounds really good.
It was a little odd because I'm used to eating plantain fried. You put in the pan, it's fried, or drink it in atol. That's how my family makes it. But when they mixed it with the meat, I was like, what is that? But I really liked it, and they taught me how to make it. So in Costa Rica, picadillo was a big one for me, and I came and I made it with my family, and it didn't come out the same, guys. But they really liked it. So that was really, really good. Let's see, what other country? Korea? I'm trying to think. They had this the dish that I explained to you guys that it looked weird. I don't know the name of it.
What did it have inside?
It's chicken in, oh man, I wish I can show you guys. It's a big like pot.
Yeah.
And they have like, the way you eat it is they put it in the middle and you guys eat out of it.
Yeah.
But it was so good. I honestly I don't want to know what's inside it because what if there's something but it was so good. It was so good.
Nice.
Another one. What's another one? Oh, wait. Pause. There's these waffles that they sell in Seoul.
Oh.
And it's basically a waffle, and sometimes it's shaped like a coin. For a
I know what you're talking about.
And they have cheese inside.
I love those.
Wait, you've tried that? Where can I get that here?
Well, when I go to Japantown a lot, and they have some the Nijimaya supermarket. But I don't know what they're called.
I need to find out.
Called.
They are so good. I actually wanted to bring some home, but the local lady that was there, and it was accidental. Okay, let me tell you guys. This is the story, so I can tell you guys a little bit about it. So when we were walking in the streets, there was this group of we were ordering something else, and there was this group of youth from from college where my friend was studying. From Yonsei, and it smelled so good. Like you just see the steam, and it was so cold. And I asked, and I said, "Do you guys speak English?" And they all said no, but one of them nodded and said yes. And they said a little bit, and I said, "What are you?" Oh, no. We went to 7-Eleven. Sorry, my bad. And I said, "Where did you get that?" And she pointed and she said, "Outside." And I said, "Where?" And she goes, follow me.
Yay.
With such an amazing excitement. And she goes and she says, "Here." And I said, "Oh, okay, let me order it." And she said, No, I'll order it for you.
Aww.
And she ordered it for us. And it was so beautiful to talk to them. And they were joking around because she said, my English is bad. And we're like, no, it's great. And they were I think her friends were they were embarrassed of her because like they were talking to us, but we built a beautiful connection. She ordered it for us. We tried it, and I was like, so good. Yeah. And I don't know what she told the lady, and the lady gave it to us, if I'm correct, for free. So then we went back again, and we kept trying it. And so when it was time for us to leave, we wanted to wake up so early to go purchase like 4, and we were praying that it would last the whole trip back home because we wanted to bring it back to our families. But that day, I don't know why, she didn't open. So we couldn't bring it home. But it's so good. I've never had waffles with cheese on it. But it was so good.
They're tasty. I always get like frozen ones. Like they're like in a pack. So
if I knew how to make them, I would make them.
Yeah. It sounds so good. Both of them. I mean, I love margarita pizzas too. They're so delicious. I think for me, my favorite food traveling outside of the country, when I went to Japan, I would go to 7-Eleven every day, and my go-to was apple juice and tuna onigiri, and it was literally so delicious. Like, guys, like, I know it's not technically like a meal, but it was my go-to because it was so good. The fish is so fresh, and it's like, it just tastes so good. Like, I was like my little like thing. It was so good. Like, also boba from Taiwan was really good. Yeah, it was like, it wasn't milk. It wasn't so much milk like the way it is here, but it was more tea, and you could really taste like everything. Like, so it tasted a lot more like deeper in a way. I don't know how to explain it. It was just a really nice.
The flavors
taste.
are different.
Yeah, and I know a lot of boba companies originated from there. So I was like, oh.
Do you know if like boba is like a new sort of drink, or if it's been going on for like many years? Because I know it's a trend now, but I don't know if it's like always been a drink.
I think it's a little older, but I'm not sure.
Okay. That's
like a really good question.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
I really want to know that. But yeah, thank you guys. Along with that, do you guys think like maybe food and culture are connected in any ways? I know we were kind of touching base on that like kind of earlier, but like maybe you guys could go more into depth as to why you think that way.
Yeah, so I already talked earlier a lot about like my home food and like home culture kind of thing during Passovers and you know, all of the Jewish celebrations we do throughout the year. But yeah, so I feel like it's very connected, like no matter what your culture, what your religion is, because the food that you have growing up is what's going to stick with you like throughout your whole life. And I feel like there's just like nostalgia that you like get when you eat like certain foods that you have always been eating and have always like had good experiences with. So for me, that's the Passovers, the matzo ball soup. One Israeli food that I'm not really a fan of though is the halva. It's like this like really dry, like flaky, like I don't know. I think it's made of like I'm not sure what it's made of. Some grain or some bean or something, and it's really not something I like. So if there was one food that I wouldn't like from anywhere, it would be halva, which is an Israeli food as well. But yeah. Do you think food and culture are connected in any way?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was gonna pull up what makes up culture, and from my understanding and the way I see it is that culture is art, drama, music, food, faith, religion, behaviors, rituals, custom, language, beliefs, attitudes. Those are according to Google. But I do agree that food falls into that category because when we talk about like my culture, what's culture from Guatemala, I can talk to you about our tamales. Our tamales are made out of rice. Now compared to a lot of other tamales, they're made out of masa. Our tamales are made, or batches, they're made out of rice. That's part of our culture, I would say. And for example, in Mexico, one of their food that they're known for is tacos. And that culture is part of Mexico. El Salvador is pupusas, and then you mentioned some. So I 100% believe that culture includes food, and it's beautiful because every culture makes it their own.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes it their own. An example I can give are tamales. Tamales from Mexico, from Guatemala, from El Salvador, from all the other places. In Costa Rica, they also make tamales. It's all very different. And what's interesting is that culture can also mean in the area you're in. So, for example, in where I'm from, in Guatemala, our tamales are different from tamales that are from the coast, from the costa, which is like the hot weather area.
Oh.
In the costa, they'll put plantain in their tamales. And in where we're from, we don't do that. But I realized it's because of the different regions. And Mexico is also a big example of it. And I'm pretty sure Brazil is too, that because they're so big and they have smaller, states, quote unquote.
Yeah.
The way they make a certain type of food is so different from all of them. It's not the same.
Yeah.
So, but that's part of that culture, right? Within Mexico, there's a culture, and within Mexico, right, there's like the small little areas that also have a culture of their own.
And if you think about America also, for example, like pizza, there's like deep dish pizza and there's New York pizza.
Chicago.
And the California with the arugula. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's all the different types depending on where you go.
Yeah, that's something that's really nice, like touching base on how like regions can really change food. I think like also just like having that appreciation and gratitude for food is something that's really important because like food is something that it's involved in many cultures and regions, and I think having that appreciation for food is something that is really important, and I'm glad that we're touching base on that because cultural appreciation is something I think that's really important when talking and discussing about culture, travel, food, because if you respect a culture and to how to behave and like know that like you're somewhere that even if you're not used to it, it should always be in your best interest to attempt to try to do your best and respecting their culture and stuff. So I thank you for bringing that up. But yeah, I think food and culture are also connected because of that, because of like how differentiating it is. How so many cultures can combine together to become like really sophisticated. Yeah.
I find it cool, I don't know if the word cool is the right one, but interesting that all three of us and anyone who's here with different backgrounds, it's interesting because we have the opportunity, because we live in America, to explore different cultures. When I think of American culture, I have a really, really hard time thinking of one specific culture, because in my perspective, America is a blend of everything, right?
Yeah.
And so as we grow up and as we learn, we start kind of taking things we like from other cultures. And I think it's great. I don't think that we should say this is mine and you can never take it. I think it's great. But at the same time, as you grow up, it can feel that your culture yourself becomes to change. So for example, when I go back home in Guatemala, they consider me like, you're American, right?
Yeah.
And then here, sometimes I'm not considered, an American. I'm considered Guatemalan. So it's an interesting environment that we, all three of us and many, get to grow up in to explore all of that.
And it reminds me of like, is America like kind of a salad bowl or a melting pot?
Yeah, I was gonna say melting pot. Like
Yeah.
that's what we were considered in the beginning of when everyone was coming to when the United States was diversifying
Exactly.
because of so much immigration. And yeah, being a melting pot is a flex.
There is no like American, like America is made of immigrants, like no matter how far back you go.
Yeah.
And there's no like America is that mix. And if there wasn't that mix, there wouldn't be the American culture that we know of today.
Yeah.
In a way.
That's what makes me really proud of, like, being American, having this culture that we, like, people around the world can all come together to suffice and, like, really understand. And, like, right now, during this podcast, we're talking about our cultures, our heritage, how traveling and food connects us. And it's so important that we, like, talk about this, especially, and, like, reassure ourselves that what we're talking about is important, especially right now,
And
it's
the fact
really,
the fact that we are able to talk about like all these different types of cultures is like kind of a crazy thing to think about, because of like the globalization that's allowed us to like travel from here to here very efficiently with airports, with like phones. Like I feel like back then, like not even that long ago, you'd not know anything near what we know about now.
Yeah.
Like in relation to just multicultural things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love what you said. I agree with both of you on the fact that, again, I'll bring it back to the table, that when I think of America, maybe to the outside world, America is, I don't know how they perceive us, but the way I see it is really we're a mix of everything. And there's a beauty into it, but there's also challenges to it, because we all want to be like, my culture is mine is better than yours. But in reality, there's also this just beautiful thing about learning and growing all together. And I think that's something that we tend to forget. With that being said, to those who are listening, you don't need to go travel outside of the country to have a little bit of taste of what it feels to be in that country. For example, there's so many places here in Marin County that you can explore. And the way you can think about it is, so many people from all over the world come to San Francisco to come look at the Golden Gate. And many of us don't appreciate that. And we don't go to
go visit.
Yeah, to go visit the Golden Gate, or even go see the redwood trees. The redwood trees are
giant. They're beautiful.
They're beautiful, and like thousands of people come to travel and come here, like the Mill Valley, Santa Fe, so many other places. They come here to learn about it. So also take the time for all of us to go explore where we live, and not just go and explore other places as well.
Yeah, that's something important to touch base on, having that appreciation and gratitude for where we are. Like, not everyone from every state in the United States is able to look outside and see these beautiful mountains. Not everyone gets to see Mount Tam outside of their window. So having that appreciation and knowledge that we're all together and we only have each other
Yeah.
is really important. And the fact that we can travel and like eat all these different foods is so amazing and beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Galle, did you want to add something?
I think the most important thing to learn, just based on summarizing everything we've talked about, like we started with traveling and where we've been, and then talked about food. The most important part of it all is that we understand that like every culture is its own thing. Every
Yeah.
culture is like it's different, but it also works together. And I think humans innately want to like explore new things, learn new experiences, and so when we mix together, we get to experience the food, the travel, and all the fruits that come with just being open-minded and listening to other people and using Google Translate or whatever it is. Just do more of that, and that'll bring you further and teach you more things you never even knew existed, no matter what it is.
Yeah. And I think there's so much to really just think about when like trying to establish where, why, and how we got here as well. Like sometimes I sit and think about it. I'm like, oh, like maybe I wouldn't have been in this room with you guys like if it was like maybe like some time ago, you know? Like
Yeah.
maybe like if it wasn't for so many people coming to this country, like we wouldn't have been in the same room right now. And it's really nice to think about how like we get to know each other, and like we're on this podcast right now because of our ancestors and how they made their decisions to come here. Yeah.
It's a very unique combination of events that like brings us to this table.
Yeah.
And maybe there's another like place where we don't know each other at all, and we never had this conversation. So thank you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would add on to that is we talked about culture and going to different places. I want to reiterate the importance of respecting our culture, meaning understanding it, and also understanding that other people have a different culture. I can go to you're from a very different place.
Yeah.
That our culture might look very, very different. I feel like you and I will be a little bit more similar, but understanding that it's how your family is, and it's okay that we don't always have to be the same. We don't always have to share the same thing. Just understanding that I respect myself, I'll respect yours, and to be open-minded to say, okay, I don't do that, but it's okay. Right. Which tends to, when we lose sight of that, that's where we as we crash with one another. And instead of understanding like, oh really, why do you do that? Like we don't do it that way, but explain to me. And sometimes there's really such rich history in learning about why certain communities do what they do. So just keep putting that out there, that there's beauty to being different.
Yeah.
And the best way to like foster that respect for other cultures is really, I think in my opinion, is finding common interests, whether it be through a sport like soccer or through anything that you guys maybe do enjoy the same thing of. Maybe that would actually help build more respect and connections, even if you guys have very different cultures from each other, and even if your guys' cultures like historically have clashed, whether that be El Salvador, Mexico, or Israel and Muslim country, like whatever it is, like just to understand there's like some commonality between humans and some commonality between cultures. That's the best way to look past those like barriers that are stopping us.
Yeah. And like establishing like friendship and also comes with like common interests. I feel like you can find so many different people. Like I feel like I look at my friend group and like I'm like we're all so vastly different, and it's amazing to me how such different people can come together and like have common interests. And it makes me think about like there's probably someone else in the world like exactly like me with the same personality traits and like the same small gestures I do, and they're just somewhere out in the world, and you know, it's just like, that's why I think it's also so important to go see other places, because like you'll always find a little bit of yourself in every place you go, and I've noticed that in every place I go, I always find something that's there, and I'm like, this is like what I've been looking for, and I bring that piece back to me whenever I come back home. And it's really nice to have that.
I would also add, traveling allows you to sometimes value a little bit more of what you have. And the reason why I say that is you get so stuck in a cycle. But when you travel and go to different places, you start to realize that sometimes they have things you don't have, or you have things that they don't have. And it makes you reflect a little bit.
Yeah.
So you come back with a fresh mind. Anyways, that's it.
Do you think, wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
Wait, for the both of you. Do you guys think that overall there's a sense of like belonging that a country that you've traveled to has given to you? Like, have you ever felt like a sense of belonging when you go travel to another country? Or do you constantly feel like you're being left out?
That's a great question.
That's a really good question. Well, one like answer I'd have to this that I think I would want to add on to what Santy and you were saying was it was related to the idea that there's a part of you in every single place you go.
Yeah.
I feel like when I went to Greece, for example, and I went to a really, really small village in the middle of nowhere, there's not that much connections with the outside internet. And I think there was this like aspect of time and of people living in the moment, whether that be like just sitting back on their porches with cigarettes or cigars. I think the idea that people are relaxed there and aren't stressed with the world around them was, I think, not actually something I would belong to, but something I've been missing, and something that when I came back, I wanted to change. So when I saw people living this very different kind of relaxed lifestyle, I realized maybe myself that I should adopt that as well, because I feel like that's something they have that, you know, I'm missing. I feel like very much I'm in a rush. I'm doing 100 things at once, and I'm worried about this college, and I'm worried about this test. And so, yeah, I think that's a piece of me that I didn't realize that I had a relation to, but it's a piece that I adopted after observing them, because I never knew it was such a lifestyle you could have.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys are saying great stuff. As for me, when I travel, it just makes me feel that I'm a part of something much, much bigger than I can think of. So we typically can fall into our personal lives and feel like it's the end of the world of whatever circumstance that we're going through, family or personal. And when you travel, you start to realize how you're a part of something so much bigger. And it makes me realize that, again, it makes me reflect that everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
That everything's gonna be okay, because if I go somewhere here, those people are struggling with the same thing that I'm struggling, or something similar, and they're miles and miles and thousand miles away from me. So it makes me kind of like ground myself a little bit more and say everything's gonna be okay, no matter what situation I am in. Yeah. Anyway, to keep it short.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Do you have anything personally that
I think, like what I was saying, I keep finding myself in all these countries, cultures, and I'm so grateful for that. And
Yeah.
But thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and thank you for tagging along to the Tay experience. I hope to see you guys in the next episode.